This is the very first episode of the Online Community Show. My name is Eric. Before we get too deep into what we're going to talk about for this very first episode, we should introduce ourselves. And I think it would be really fun, instead of introducing myself and you introduce yourself, if you introduce me and then I introduce you. What do you think?
I think that sounds like a great idea. But let's go with you first.
Okay.
Eric is probably one of the first people that I met when I came to school. And he's just blown me away with how much knowledge he has when it comes to traffic and getting attention. And I know that's probably from his experience as being a podcast producer for about a decade, I think is what you said. And I would say, I think that when it comes to having like anything online, getting attention is like very important, because if you don't have their attention, then like, well, what do you have, right? So he's been good with live streams, which we all know, especially with Hormozy, like pushing live streams now is important. He's really good with short form. And it's kind of like, you know how when we talk about online, there's like this whole joke about being ADHD and having like hyperfixations. I would say if Eric had a hyperfixation, it would be on traffic and how to get the most traffic and make content. So this is Eric. We've had a podcast before and we went silent because he was hyperfixating on some TikTok stuff. And now we're coming back to doing this. And I'm really excited because Eric is like the perfect person to talk to when it comes to podcasting and getting people's attention. So that's Eric.
That is me. And if you listen to our past podcast, then you probably know a lot about what we've talked about before. But like she said, I did take a bit of a break. I took about a year where I just did nothing but TikTok for like a full year straight. Now we can talk about Jenna. Jenna has a lot more experience than me. She's been doing this at least double the amount of time that I've been doing it. She is the most observant moderator on school, as she's been dubbed. Some people call her the mom. Some people call her the FBI because she's very observant. If you do something wrong, she will absolutely find it and she will do something about it. But that's okay. She does it with love. She does it because she loves the school platform. We met on school, over 2 years at this point. We're basically unks on school. And she's, like I said, she's been doing this way longer than I have, with consulting, with entrepreneur stuff, with online community stuff. Like, she's like the go-to person. And that's exactly why when she asked if we want to do this podcast again, I'm like, heck yeah, there's nobody really more knowledgeable about online community stuff than Jenna. So take it away, Jenna.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I thought it would be a lot of fun for us to get back into doing this, especially now that you're going to be on school more full time. It's kind of like when you jump back into the swing of things, or if you're just getting started, there's all this pressure to find like what's working and like what's the one right way of things that are working currently. And we kind of want to break that kind of idea or that myth of that there's only one right way to do it. There's tons of ways to do this. There's no one size fits all, really, because each person is unique, and that's kind of why communities work so well. So when it comes to like online communities, I really think that that is probably the best business to be in now that we're in 2026. We're in the land of AI minefields. You never know when you're going to come across something that's AI. And so people are looking for something real, and getting to talk to all of the different people that, whether they've been doing this a long time, whether they're brand new to the game, but they have something that's working. It's going to be nice to talk to a full range of people, because also when, like, haven't you noticed this, Eric? When you go to look at podcasts that talk to online communities, it's usually the people that are like making the most amount of money, right?
It always seems to be the person who has an online community that's definitely making the most amount of money.
Right. And sometimes, like, yes, would we all love to succeed like hugely? I think we would. But that's not always the same goal for everybody. Some people just want to make enough as like a side income. Some people want to just have a place where they feel they belong. They don't even monetize it, you know?
Yeah, actually, I joined a community this morning that is not really money-based at all. It's just mostly about getting brotherhood. And with social media, I'm a prime example. I've been doing social media for a long time, and it's not really social anymore. It's just media, it's just content consumption. And that's specifically why I love online communities and especially school, because you are getting that connection back. And so not everybody's doing it just for the money. You can do it for that human connection, which we're just desperately wanting right now.
Exactly, and so when we're getting to talk to all these people, one, we're getting our human connection, like, cup filled up, but then we get to spread it for more people than just ourselves, and you're right, like, social media is not social anymore. I don't remember the last time I went like, even if I open the app for Facebook, I don't see anybody I know. All I'm getting served are ads or posts about things I don't want to see, you know? It's not even my friends. That's what it was supposed to be about, right?
Right now, anytime I open any social media, it's just doom and gloom.
One of the problems with that too is, like, if you try to go anywhere online, whether it's, like, let's talk about, like, TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube, like, my whole YouTube feed is I'm just getting served a bunch of things that are in the media, and yes, okay, it's part of the news, and that's probably it's important to stay somewhat aware, but there's a there's a level of, like, awareness that is just depressing, and I've noticed it. I've talked to a good bit of people lately, and I'm like, "Well, hey, is everything okay? You've been kinda quiet lately," and they are just getting totally overwhelmed with how awful life can be or the world can be, and it can get to a point where you feel like there's no, like, no motivation, right?
I mean, we had a conversation, just me and you, the other day, where I was just honestly feeling straight up depressed just because I did get caught in that cycle of scrolling and just saying bad news after bad news and just feeling absolutely stuck. Like I felt hopeless. Like there's no point in even doing anything because, basically the world's ending, or at least that's what they make you feel like.
And that's not a good place to be in, especially, like, as a parent, first of all. It's like, we gotta keep going, and I think that this will be good because when we get to talk to all these people, we'll look for the positive things, like positive outlooks, and I really like school because when we come to school, if as long as you're not maybe there's a community out there that's, like, focused on that kinda stuff, but I can kind of regulate what I'm going to see and that it's not going to be negative and gloomy. And I think that if anything, this is one of those moments where it's like, if you can't do anything about what's going on in the world, then put things back in your wheelhouse of what you can do something about. And that is like connecting with people, making your community stronger, letting people like feel heard. And there's going to be moments where we all have ups and downs, but I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I'm excited about is that we're making more content that you can get into that isn't going to be ick?
Yeah, I actually made a video the other day because I just make videos just for fun, just because I just enjoy the process of content creation. And I had a video go kind of viral, and I started getting all of these comments of people saying things like, "I've been bed rotting all day, and this made me feel so much better." Like, "Oh, I haven't laughed in a week." I kind of get the same feeling with school. We are called the online community show, but we're obviously more preference to school, just because there's a certain culture there that I've never seen in any other platform. I've tried a bunch. I've tried, Discord, Circle, Kajabi, all these different places. And there's a certain this culture on school that is one kind of anti-AI, anti-guru, and it's just more about friendship and connection. And gosh, we need that right now.
We really do. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day, and we'll probably have them on the show soon, but they were having an issue inside their own community where they had to talk to them about, "Hey, let's not do so much AI. Like, don't reply." And I see this like, obviously I'm the MOM moderator,
Yeah.
and I see it. Like, I'll see people replying to each other, and it's clearly like they just put the post into ChatGPT or something, got a reply, and then they copy pasted it. And I'm like, if people wanted to talk to ChatGPT, they would do it themselves.
Right.
They came to this online community space to hear from people. We want to have that human connection. And so that's part of like this. I hope part of my hopes for this show is that we're going to help with encouraging people to have that connection. And not only not with just this show, I want to see more people have their own podcast. There's so many different good reasons. I mean, I could say them, but it would be silly for me to say them because you've been the podcast producer for over a decade. So, explain one of the things that would be really good for people to see how, as we're making this one, it's going to be easy for us to do. And you can see how chill it is.
Right.
And then you should start your own. What are some reasons why they should think about that?
There's so many reasons why you should start a podcast for your online community. The first one is, if someone was to see you on a TikTok, that TikTok may be 15 seconds long. They're going to have to watch dozens of those videos to even remember your name. But if you can get somebody into watching your podcast, they might spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour with you. And you're going to build that trust with your future members so much faster. So that's one reason why it's good. I kind of look at podcasting as kind of like your library of knowledge. Another reason why I think at the bare minimum why you should have a podcast is because you can interview your successful members. And what that does is your newer members can go through and watch these episodes and they can see that what you're doing is true, that you're not lying, that obviously someone has had some kind of success. And so to me, podcasting is just the ultimate trust builder.
I would agree. And it's also I don't know what other people do, but I know what I do when I listen to podcasts is it might be what I turn on and I'm letting play while I'm doing the dishes or I'm doing laundry, doing something that is part of my regular daily life, which is I'm inviting people into my life as a podcaster, right? So you almost build a community, even if you're starting to build the community, even if you're not already currently in the community itself.
I would just make it perfectly clear, though, that if you want to start a podcast, you cannot look at it as a traffic tool. You have to look at it as a nurturing tool, because how podcasts work, there is no algorithm. It is not like TikTok or YouTube where people are just going to randomly stumble upon you. It is simply a nurturing tool. Now, once you get that podcast onto YouTube, then yes, it can be used for that. So if you want to use podcasting as your format of choice, it just really depends on how you go about it. But you just have to keep that in mind. You're not going to start a podcast and start getting in hundreds of members from that podcast. It's your library. It's where people come and listen to you, and it nurtures them.
This is so Eric coded, because Eric is the traffic guy. And he's no, just to be clear, podcasting is great, but also you still have to do things for traffic. I love it. And it's important to have that distinction too, because there's so many times where people will think that they're doing a lot of effort to get traffic, but it's not actually going to be the thing that moves the needle for them. Moves the needle. That's a Alex Hormozy kind of thing, right? But yeah, I think that's probably an important point is and even if they don't want to start a podcast, right? Because it might feel like there's a lot of pressure to keep it going or to get episodes out every once in a while. First of all, you don't have to take it so seriously. You can be more chill. But the other part of that is that you could be a guest, right?
Right.
And you're getting out there, and as a guest, you're getting a moment to, one, connect with other people, and two, get even way better at communicating, which is going to be important for having a community. And then you're also going to clarify what it is that you do.
Exactly. I would say that podcast guesting is 100% a traffic tool, because you are getting in front of a warm audience, because that podcaster has probably spent several years building up that trust and building up an audience that you then get to borrow. So it is a traffic tool, podcast guesting.
So I guess it also depends on which podcasts you decide to be on. And one of the things that I was going to say is, as entrepreneurs, I'm guilty of this. I know I'm going to let you say if you're guilty of this or not too, but yeah, I think you'll understand what I'm saying. We get in our heads and we overthink things, and we never get it out to the world because we're perfecting it. It's like a form of perfectionism that ends up becoming our procrastination. And if you just go out there and you start speaking about what you're doing, and if you give yourself a chance to really connect with the world, you're going to clarify things and you're going to get feedback. And that feedback is the only way that I don't think it'll ever be perfect, but it's the only way to actually find something that is working. So it can be eye-opening. It can be a little bit scary when you first get started, but at some point there's going to be that breakthrough of it just becomes natural. Like you're just getting on a call and talking with people, right?
I'm 100% the overthinking king. That's kind of what I do. And a lot of it I've realized comes from a lack of confidence. Like you don't feel confident enough to actually jump in. But the thing is, it's impossible to gain confidence without experience. So until you actually go head first, like into the water, you're not going to figure it out. You have to just do it, or you're never going to gain that experience, which means you're never going to get confident, which means you're just going to be stuck in that overthinking forever.
Right. And that's the same with like whether it's opening a community or it's getting on calls with other communities. This is a funny story. When we first got started, I think it was back in like March or April 2 years ago. And there was a call. There was like back then we would just like people would throw links into the main school community, which is now called Schoolers. And I know Ryan Duncan posted one, and we were just finishing up a podcast episode, and I was like, we have to get on here, and I didn't want to do it myself, and you're like, I don't want to go on there, and I'm like, please just do it with me. And I peer pressured you to go on there, and you didn't say anything, I don't think, on that call, but I definitely did.
It's really funny thinking of you of being not confident or like being scared to do something like that. Now looking at everything that you've done, building this huge community. Like how many people are in your community now? Like over 1,000?
Yes, there's over 1,000 in there right now.
Yeah, and then you're a moderator for the biggest platform for online communities, and you've all the different people you've worked with, and it's funny now looking back because that's not who you are now.
Yeah, I think it was like, and here's the thing, even if I've done business consulting and I've had lots of experience, we can all go through phases of lacking confidence or getting like, I guess rusty might be the good word because you haven't been in it. Like
Yes.
in a speaking, something can throw you off. And previous to coming to school, I was burnt out on working with one-on-one clients. I had like a really, really difficult one-on-one client. I also had just become like a brand new mom. And I think that with all of those things, it wasn't that I didn't know what I was doing. It was that the thought of interacting with people after dealing with such a difficult person was kind of like not intimidating, but also like, do I really want to put myself into this again? And that's probably what made me feel that way in that moment. If I was trying to like look back and diagnose, what I was going through.
I mean, even with this, I mean, we're doing a podcast and we've taken off for like a year. So
Mhm.
even this feels rusty. Even though I've been in podcasting forever, doing this feels a little unnatural.
Right. I think that's normal. I think it would be weird if we came back to this after not doing it for a year and we were perfect,
So everyone listening, like you're going to feel nervous when you first start, and you're probably not going to be very good at it. And that's okay.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like just jump into it, and even if you're not good at it, who's actually going to come tell you that you weren't good at this, right?
Right.
Like, sure, now that I've said it, if you say it in the comments, that'll be like our inside joke is like, oh man, this is terrible,
Well, I always tell people that too when they start making content. Okay, you're bad at it, but that's actually good because you're probably not going to get very many views, which means no one's going to see you being bad at it.
Here, I'm going to share something. I'm going to share something that makes me cringe so bad. So when I first got, I'm dying right now. When I first got started doing my videos, see, I'm used to being, and this is what most people don't know, is I'm used to being on camera. And since joining school I've been off camera. Like I'm doing this on purpose, faceless. So I was trying to get used to doing looms to help people. And I've had this rule of like, I do a one take and it's none of my business what I sound like afterwards. Because I know that if I make it my business and I'll listen to it again, I'm just gonna end up, like, editing it or deleting it and
Changing it,
re-recording.
redoing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's not as good as it was the first time around. So, I went back and I want like, when you're like your soul goes, "Oh, no." Um, I had, like, a different voice I did when I was making Loom videos to help people in the school community at the very beginning, and I was like, "And this is how you do." And it was just like,
No, I do the same thing. My wife calls it my masking voice.
yeah. Yeah, and I think, like, I'm technically not diagnosed as ADHD. My doctor told me, "If you wanna get a professional diagnosis so that you can get medication for it, you can. Otherwise, you can just know that, like, I think you have it." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"I
all the
don't."
signs are there for
Yeah.
for me too.
So, because we were talking about masking and stuff, and I know a doctor's not supposed to technically do that, but we're we're on a different level. And so it was like if I wanted the official one, I could go, but I'm like, what am I gonna do with an official one since I'm not gonna take medication for it? And I found out that I do a lot of masking, like, especially because girls went undiagnosed for a very long time, where the I guess the queens of masking it. And so when you're talking about, like, the masking voice, that can come into play a lot when you're working with communities, is if you feel the pressure to be on camera or if you feel the pressure, like, you need to show up a certain way, you can end up masking, and that will exhaust you. There's no way to continue to mask what you're doing online if you want it to be sustainable and long term.
That's exactly right.
So, that's the other part, is, like, I'm very familiar with the masking part of it, and I don't want to mask because 1, that's not it's not healthy. It's not healthy to put your body through that. And as we talk to so many people and we're gonna get insights from people that are doing really well and then people that are doing really well from the very get-go because they're making it more natural. And then also, like, what did they do wrong? We'll also ask those kinds of questions. Like, what do you wish you did differently? You can see that there's so many ways and that people also failed. Like, even the successful people had moments of failure. And hopefully, my hope is that it helps you just, like, release this idea that you have to do this or be a certain way to do this.
I mean, you have to fail. Like, there's no other choice. You're not going to figure out what works until you do, which is why I created my community. It's one of the reasons why I created mine. Bring all these people together and we can all talk about our failures and we'll all learn a heck of a lot faster.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when something I really enjoy, and I'm just gonna say this now, is, and I know I didn't, like, prep you for this, but I like that you have positioned your community as you're not the expert and that you guys are doing this together. Even though like, didn't you get, like, a million views in the last week on your content?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you got a million views. There's a lot of people that are like, "Hey, I got 1,000 views in my entire lifetime," you know? But you've done really well with it, but you're still saying, "Hey, now," because I know you do a lot of fun stuff, and you already heard that it's really helpful for people that were, like, sad and depressed and stuff. So it still serves a purpose. You're gonna go at this as traffic, let's figure out what's going on, and let's all try all this and test it and put together where you collectively have a lot of people working on their traffic and collectively are finding things out, and then being able to give feedback and receive feedback. All of that stuff is gonna be way more useful because algorithms change.
They change by the week.
Yeah, markets change. People are gonna be cool with one thing, and then they're gonna be like, "No, we don't like that." Like, a lot of people loved AI stuff at first, and now some of them are completely over it. So,
Oh, yeah. They're ready for it to be gone.
right. So I think that it's one of those things where you setting it up, and this is, like, for everybody, setting up a community where you're not the expert is actually beneficial because now it is not reliant on him either.
I can just build it and then it will grow without me having to necessarily be there.
Right, and that's what a community should be. That's, like, why I go back to saying online communities are one of the best business models is because Are you building a business or are you building a job? Like, let's be real. If you're building a community and it relies on you 100% to be there, otherwise there's nothing coming from it, then it's not a community. And I know that firsthand because, I like to talk to, like, people knows me as a mom, but I'm also like the scientist. I call myself the mad scientist, is I will test a bunch of things. And while I'm testing it, I want to know what's working, what's not working, what's a better way to do this, because that's the whole point of me helping other people is like, if I don't know whether this works or not, I need to find out so that I can say something about it. And when I set up my paid community, I did what was unsustainable and did a bunch of calls, which was on purpose because obviously I was testing it out.
You were doing like 5 calls a week or more.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like I made myself very available and I was getting on calls and talking to people and helping them. And the thing is that then they don't comment. Then they don't make the post when they need help. They're just waiting for the next time they can get on a call with me. And that's cool, but also I know what my my worth is as far as like the value of getting on a call because I know what my pricing is outside of school and stuff. And it wasn't worth it to me to continue to do that long term. Like that's what I got out of.
Well, you burn out quick.
Yeah. And so that's the other point to this too. I'm like, you want to have a community where, like you're doing it, where they're not reliant on you to be there every single moment or to do all these calls. And the other part is that you can change it. You, with community, if you find people that trust you and you start to build that relationship with them, because I think that your first job is to make friends with each other, they'll still follow you when you change things, you know?
And not to say that, like, I'm not gonna be giving my insights or anything, I definitely will be.
Yeah.
It's just that there are so many like you said, there's different ways to build communities, there's different ways to get traffic. Like, for me, I was pretty successful doing live streams on TikTok, but there's some niches where that just straight up won't work. And so they may need to get their traffic from YouTube or somewhere else. So not all advice will apply because there's all kinds of different ways to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it would be weird. You have your community and you just don't say anything.
Right. Right.
Um, that's not what we're saying, just to be clear. Yeah, I agree with you because, like, here's the thing. When you have all those different people and all those different niches in one spot, you also might get insight from something that they're doing that's actually gonna help you with your live streams and vice versa. So, I really love group types of learning because they'll ask questions that inspire you, even if it doesn't apply completely. Anyways, I think we want to keep this one pretty short, right?
Yeah, this is just our intro episode where we wanted to tell a little bit about us, a little bit about what this is going to be. So yeah, we're going to keep it pretty short. All right, well, everybody, we will see you in the next episode. The next one will be an interview, and it is actually the first episode that we recorded. So going back to what we were talking about earlier, where we sounded like we were a little bit rusty, I was a little bit rusty in that. So if you want to see what it's like to be rusty, watch the next episode.
Yes, it'll be fun. And we did it, we were testing. That's the other part is like always be testing. So we tested it on School Lives, but now we're going to be using StreamYard because that is going to allow us to be on YouTube in the future too, live.
All right. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.